little bit here. I've been 22 years over there in Germany, and because I did explain, my wife passed away in 2003, and I had Mickey and Anna. They were 8 and 9 at the time, and I had a lot of help. It was great. Support was fantastic, and my kids are really great. They've grown up and they're studying and doing all sorts of wonderful things. And but I just remember this experience with my daughter. She came to me when she was about 11, Anna. She's a little girl here with these beautiful big brown eyes. And she said, "Dad, we've had cats and everything like this, but they're not here anymore. The cats at our place, they always sort of disappeared. They would stay a few weeks and they would be gone. They sort of find an old lady somewhere where they could perhaps get better treatment or better fed or something. I don't know. I've got what the story was, but we tried a number of cats and they didn't stay at our place. So, and I have to say, a few years later, I did find a photo of my daughter, and one of the cats that we had, she had the cat with the paws playing the keyboard. And this is not really the problem. The problem was the cat had headphones on. So, maybe this has got something to do with the fact the cats were not there anymore. So, and the cat had to sort of look on its face. It was. Anyway, so she said to me, "Dad, I'm a little girl. I want to have something to cuddle." So I'm thinking we go to the shop and get a teddy bear, like a little cuddle toy. No, Daddy, no. I want to have something that moves. I want to live. I want something live. We had a cat, but the cats don't stay. I would like something else. And she said, "I've been talking to my friends at school, and what we can do is we can get a rabbit." And I'll just go back and digress a little bit here, because I grew up on a fruit block out at Redcliffe's, on the last, just before the the trees, and I was the oldest son, and my mother taught me how to catch rabbits, and catching rabbits, of course, is not difficult because there's so many, there's millions of them. So you go out and you set a trap near and my uncle told me, he said, "You don't set the trap where the rabbit comes out on the, because you've got a hole in the ground and there's a track where the rabbit comes out in it." He said, "That's only where the babies come in and out. The parents, they come out of the hole and they'll stop, they'll look left and right, and they'll spring to the left or the right, So if you want to catch the older rabbit, you've got to put in the trap at the left or the right of the opening of this runway that they have, So, which I did, and I caught lots of rabbits. And you set it in the evening, and you come in the morning, and in fact, and you see the rabbits caught by the leg, and so you have a big stick, bang on the head, and he's fixed him up, and then. I think they're not allowed anymore, these rabbit traps, I think they and I'm talking the 60s here, so the early 60s into the 50s. And of course, you can also shoot them out at 22, and nobody told me what to do, but I knew how to handle a 22, and you have to get them in the head, because if you get them in the body, you can't eat them, so it's got to be dog food. So, I had this kind of, I grew up with this this normal thing, because you come home in the evening, you got to kick the rabbits away from the door before you can get in. So it was sort of plague form there in the Mallee. These rabbits, and I also learned you can clean these rabbits out in the bush. You just sort of make a little incision down here, and you hold it by the legs and the near the head, and just go flick in the bush, and all these sort of entrails go out into the bush and end up in a tree there somewhere, and then you just you incision here, and you can pull the skin off and just cut off the head, and you come home and you've got it all cleaned, and you leave all the rubbish out there for the dingoes and the foxes, So this is how I grew up. It was a bit of basic way, but this is in the Mallee. You have to learn to survive somehow, and we would eat then this rabbit once a week. We'd have rabbit in the stew. Well, nearly once a week. I know Phil could probably argue with me there. Every second week at least, anyway. A big rabbit in the pot, a few potatoes and carrots. Cook her up, and then you've got a great meal. Anyway, my daughter's come home from school, and she said, "Dad, what about a rabbit?" And I thought straight away, lunch, I thought, I'm going to have some fun here. So, that you don't have a rabbit as a pet. And what are you telling me here? I said, "Oh, but Dad, you can get the rabbit, and you put them in a cage, and you put a bit of straw on the floor, and the water's in this one over here, and this corner you've got a little bit of food, and they go to the toilet in this corner over here, and they don't have to go anywhere. They're quite happy. These pet rabbits, you just leave them in the cage. It's great, and they never run away. It's fantastic. And I've always got something I can cuddle. And I feel a heartbeat and how warm it is and how fantastic it is. So I'm still not convinced. And I think this is. There's going to be a trick to this somehow. So anyway, we've gone to the pet shop and we've looked at these rabbits, and there's this cute little rabbit. It's about this big, and they're called dwarf rabbits. I don't know whether you know them. They've got their sort of long ears and short nose, and they sort of look at you like this and said, "Daddy, I want that one." So my daughter, she got everything, mostly what she wanted, and I bought this rabbit. I had to give money for it. I had to buy the rabbit. Can you believe it? And so I've given this money out, and it's not just the rabbit. You've got to buy a cage, you've got to buy the thing for the bottom, and you've got to have and the straw, and it goes on and on. So I've given out a few bucks here for this rabbit. It better be good, and said, "Daddy, let's call him Johnny." Okay, so we've got a Johnny now, and we kept him outside mostly, but he would always come in with Anna and cuddle on the couch and whatever. And he was a kind of friendly little fella. It was great. He was quite happy just to stay in one position. You could probably go past there 3 times a day, and he hasn't moved, except he's been to the water, had a bit of a feed, had a little poo in the corner, and he's gone around the traps a couple of times. But he's still in that same spot, and they're quite happy. They don't need to run around like a cat or a dog and that sort of thing. So anyway, it was good. Anyway, one day she took him out of the pen and she put him on the grass to have a little run around on the grass, and he'd hop around, He wouldn't sort of run away because he wasn't fast enough. Anyway, the neighbour cat jumped on him. And she said to me, Daddy, there's something wrong with Johnny. He's only walking with 3 legs, and one of them's at the back here like this, and he's dragging this other leg behind him, And I said, he got a shock, I think that's what it is. He'll be right in a couple of days. Yeah, give him a couple of days, and on Tuesday we can go. No, and he'll be right, no worries. Anyway, Tuesday came around and he was still walking to the water and to the food and going to the toilet with 1 leg at the back here like this and 3 legs like this, and Daddy, can we take him to the vet? To the vet. I was thinking to myself, Sunday lunch, I got some other thing in my head. And the only trouble with Johnny, I'd need 3 of Johnny's because he was so small and cute. So my daughter, she's convincing, I said, Daddy, come on, let's take him to the vet and then have a look. So we go to the local vet in Memmingen, and she looks at Johnny and said, oh yeah, there's something wrong here for sure. So he had a little feel and said that, Mr. Stevens, I think we need to do a X-ray to have a look at the bone structure. So they make a little X-ray, and sure enough, it's not just broken like this, poof, it's split, it's gone long ways, it's sort of broken in a long thing. Poor little Johnny, So, Mr. Stevens, there are 3 things we can do. Firstly, we can give him an injection and put him to sleep, that he's gone, good night. Anna's saying, no, Papa, we don't do that. We can take the leg off near the top here, and he can have 3 legs. It doesn't matter, they don't know whether they've got 3 or 4 legs, only as long as they can get to the water and to the food and go to the toilet. They don't need 4 legs, So, So I'm tied into my daughter, she's whatever she says. So, and she said the last thing we can do is we can operate, and we'll operate on Johnny, and we'll put him in a plaster cast, and if you like, you can pick him up next week. So what did we do? We had an operation on Johnny, and we've gone into the veterinary a week later, and here's Johnny, still looking the same with this enormous, great big plaster cast. It's as big as he is on his back right leg, So. Now, Mr. Stevens, you take him home and you bring him back in 2 weeks, and we take that off, the plaster cast, and everything is good. So we think it was successful. So anyway, after 2 weeks, I take Johnny back to the vet, and he's, of course, done everything, dragging his foot behind him with his great. It's enormous, and you think, how can this little rabbit walk with his leg? Anyway, she says, okay, we take it off, and you can take him home now. Oh, very good. So we take him home, and I look in the cage, and he's still only walking with 3 legs and 1 out the back here. And I said, this is not right. I've just given out 300 euros for an operation on a rabbit, a rabbit, can you believe it? where I come from, we eat the you buggers, you know, and I've just given a heap of chooks out here, and I was a bit unhappy, so I went back to the vet, and I said, look, Johnny's still only walking with 3 legs. Are you sure you did the right job? Yes, it's everything is in order. But Mr. Stevens, in Germany, when you have an operation, you have to do rehabilitation afterwards. Okay, so I want you to take the rabbit on his back, hold him like this, and with this leg that was broken, I want you to move it in walking motion 20 times, 3 times a day. And so I go home and tell Anna, guess what you're doing? And she said, no, I'm not. I'm going to school. So I'm sitting there at home with this rabbit, Johnny, and I'm doing walking motions with this thing. And in the middle of this, I said to Johnny, if you do a really good job, I'm going to get you a girlfriend. So, but that's another story. Anyway, the thing is, after this week of doing this, he walked with 4 legs again. Okay, this is the German way, you know. That's how we do it in Germany. We go for rehabilitation after this. I'm running out of time here. Oh yeah, okay. So I've actually got 3 songs to do, but I don't know how I'm going to do them. I'm going to do a rabbit song, okay? And this is a John Williamson song. It's one I like John Williamson. I really like his album Mallee Boy. I don't know that he's done a better one since, but this is Mallee Boy, so because I'm a Mallee Boy too. I've ripped and dug out burrows on a sandy below hill. Eradicating rabbits doesn't take a lot of skill, but a boy born in the Mallee doesn't find them hard to kill. No self-respecting farmer lets a rodent eat his wheat. He'll shoot 'em and he'll skin 'em and he'll dress 'em up to eat. But since the smear of Mixo, he's almost got 'em beat. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. Where little town dogs howl at the morning train, a cocky makes a living on 12 inches of rain, where his woman provides and is rare to complain. Where a bloke grows as stocky as a Mallee bull, and people come from miles just to see the tractor pull, where the paddocks are clean and its hollows are full. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. Where you'd lose an ear on duck opening day, slickers bring their shotguns from miles away, and they shoot the life out of shags and swans that fly their way. But I still love the smell of that sandy soil. Some say it's dusty, some say it's gold, and it grows the sweetest fat clams that the market's ever sold. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. I've ripped and dug out burrows on a sandy Bullock hill. Eradicating rabbits doesn't take a lot of skill, but a boy born in the Mallee doesn't find them hard to kill. But they'll never be as rare as a quandong tree. My grandma made some jam for my brothers and me. It's like the Mallee fowl you hardly ever see. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. And I don't mind at all if they call me a Mallee boy. Thank you and goodbye. Okay, thank you very much.